1950s, Pandora's Box was a popular coffee house located at 8118 Sunset Boulevard on the corner of Sunset and Crescent Heights.
Now, the Hyde Kitchen and Cocktails, the address was 8117 Sunset Boulevard, and the Chevron gas station was 8101. So right in
Located
here,
8118 Sunset
would have been
Boulevard.
about where the Pandora's Box once stood. It should be right around 8111. The Hyde Kitchen.
The Sunset Strip curfew rides, known as the Hippie Rides, exploded on November 12, 1966 and lasted through December of 1966. Now, the countercultural youth movement was a reaction to perceived authoritarian overreach and an exercise in civil rights by Los Angeles youth. Music fans gathered on the Pandora's Box Club on Sunset Strip Boulevard to protest a 10 p.m. curfew imposed by local authorities. At the first happening on November 12, 1969, just prior to the imposed 10 p.m. curfew for minors, a crowd gathered at Pandora's Box, the club popular teenagers.
I held on, I surprised at Find It Inside. And right in here's
Bell-bottoms, tie-dyed shirts, marijuana smoke, and loud rock and roll. It was small and cramped, full of energy that spilled out onto the Sunset Strip. Back in 1966, when you walked down Sunset Strip, you would see on the sidewalk dogging with groovy guys, beetle-haired teens, and flower children. Teenagers came to catch a glimpse of their favorite musicians, many of whom lived in Laurel Canyon, in part because of its close proximity to the Sunset Strip clubs. Prior to the riots, authorities began cracking down on curfew, decades-old curfew law for those under 18. Seeing this as infringement on the rights, striplings, as they were called, invited people to demonstrate at the Pandora's Box. Reports vary, perhaps between 900 and 3,000 demonstrators, including celebrities Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda, erupted in protest. As Cecilia Rasmussen wrote in an article on August 5th, 2007 for the Los Angeles Times, the confrontation with the police inspired musician Stephen Stills of Buffalo Springfield to write For What It's Worth. Stills' song, with its famous line, "There's something happening here," debuted during a short-lived tryst on Christmas Day at Pandora's Box and eventually became an anthem of the protest era. For What It's Worth, a 1966 protest song, which evolved from Pandora's Box from the Sunset Strip riots, is once again popular today as a popular protest song protesting what's going on with our civil rights. It was early 1967 when things quieted down on the Sunset Strip and established itself as Southern California haven of human be-ins, love-ins, acid tests, drugs, rock and roll, and countercultural communities, particularly in the Laurel Canyon, Topanga, and Malibu Canyons. Experimentation and creativity ruled the dynamic LA scene. It would not be long before the generation of the Sunset Strip riots at the drawing of the Summer of Love would stun the world with protests against the faraway and unspoken war.
Hold on 1 second. Hyde Park and Kitchen, which is actually 8117. This is the entire parking lot.
There's something happening here.
And here. But at one time there used to be like a lot of clubs right here. The Pandora's Box is right here at the corner. And this vlog is being done by request of the old Pandoras.
Paul Vaughn, this video is for you. This is the approximate location of the old Pandora's box.
Right over there is where John Belushi died. Check out Hollywood Happenings for all the latest. The Chateau Marmont is straight over that way, where John Belushi had passed. A lot of celebrities hang out there. Looks like a little fairy book house, fairy tale. Directly across the street, right there, you can check out the full vlog on Hollywood Happenings. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for all kinds of old Hollywood. The Garden of Aaliyah once stood at this corner. They tore it down to build a shopping center. They just recently tore down the shopping center, and now it's just a vacant lot. Let's see what they're going to do with this. Showing you some of the architecture.
Pandora's Box, located at 8118 Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, was owned by Jimmy O'Neill. It was a nightclub coffee house. It closed in 1966. Jimmy O'Neill was also the producer of the show Shindig. Now, the Pandora's Box, located at Sunset and Crescent Heights, it was the home of some of the more adventurous artists in town. Pandora's Box hosted upcoming jazz musicians such as Les McCann and Carla Bley. While artist Bert Schoenberg adorned the interior of the club with a mural similar to his work on the famous mural of Cafe Frankenstein and the Purple Onion.
Would have been 8111. Right in here, because 8117 is the other block. Pandora's Box, right in here, where the sunset lights were held by this intersection right here. for a little Hollywood history, this is where the Sunset riots. This is the intersection Sunset Crescent Heights Boulevard, where the Pandora's Box once stood, where there were Sunset riots. For the full history on Pandora's Box, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit like, follow, subscribe for all the old Hollywood history.
In 1962, the club was bought by disc jockey and shindig host Jimmy O'Neill. O'Neill's trend-setting booking policy made Pandora's Box the center of the Sunset Strip youth scene. The club featured performances by such artists as the Beach Boys, the Byrds, and Sonny and Cher. While the club itself did not serve alcohol, Pandora's Box very soon became a hangout where underage drinking was not upcoming among
Women
people.
like freedom.
Moreover, numerous complaints arose about drug use and loud music. Ultimately, however, the biggest problem that arose from the club was the obstruction it caused upon traffic as a result of both the numerous visitors and unfortunate location at one of the busiest intersections in the city. By 1966, annoyed residents and business owners in the district had encouragement the passage of a strict 10 p.m. curfew and loitering law to reduce traffic congestion and disturbances resulting from crowds of young club patrons. This was perceived by the local rock music fans and infringement on their civil rights, and for weeks the tensions protests swelled. On Saturday, November 12, 1969, flyers were distributed along the strip inviting people to demonstrate. Later that day, hours before the protest, one of LA's rock and roll radio stations announced that there would be a rally at Pandora's Box that evening. As many as 1,000 youthful demonstrators, including such celebrities as Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda, who was handicapped by the police, erupted in protest against a perceived repressive enforcement of these recently invoked curfew laws and the forced closure of Pandora's Box. Now the unrest continued for the next night and night off and on through the November and December, while Pandora's Box had already been forced to close its doors. Sonny and Cher, who got their start at the strip as Cedars and Cleo, made the appearance in front of Pandora's Box in December, while on Christmas Day, Pandora's Box reopened for one night only. There was, according to author Dominic Parry, Stephen Stills first publicly performed For What It's Worth, a song written in response to the riots. Local administrations decided to get tough and rescinded the use permits of 12 strip clubs, thereby making them off limits to anybody under 21. In November 1966, the Los Angeles City Council voted to acquire and demolish the Pandora's Box. The club was eventually demolished in early August of 1967. The Buffalo Springfield 1967 hit single For What It's Worth, Stop, Hey, What's That Sound, was written by group member Stephen Stills in response to the riots around Pandora's Box. Later, Stephen Stills said, "Riot is a ridiculous name. It was a funeral for Pandora's Box, but it looked like a revolution." Plastic People, a song recorded by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, mentioned Pandora's Box in the lyrics. "I hear the sound of marching feet down Sunset Boulevard to Crescent Heights, and therefore that Pandora's Box, we are confronted with a vast quantity of plastic people." Now, there was a film in 1967 called The Riot on Sunset Strip. It's a fictionalized interpretation of the events about Pandora's Box, and was released within 4 months of the protest. The nightclub is constantly featured in the film Once Upon a Hollywood. The film was set in 1969.